This Capcom logo reminds me of a song. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything. Oh!
Wow, your singing was that bad. It not only killed that guy, it killed that guy twice.
I thought that guy
Wait,
was the
whoa,
one singing.
whoa! Hold the phone. Why do we have Dude Bro Chris Redfield going on right now?
We're going into the game with Chris Redfield's Devil May Cry 2 Diesel outfit. Great.
On it, like, I'm not even joking right now. That literally looks like a Fortnite costume.
I have a feeling like only 2 people watching this have actually played enough Devil May Cry 2 to get what I just referenced, but okay.
Yeah, so now it's time for the remake. We're doing Chris's scenario via the remake to cover both games in some capacity, and now this is where things get legitimately good.
Yeah.
Because even today, this game is still one of the best in the franchise in terms of both nailing gameplay and atmosphere.
I would call it one of the best in the genre, to be honest. A lot of people wanted to see the Resident Evil 2 remake go in the same direction, and while I understand the sentiment, to be honest, I think after Remake 1, Remake 2 wouldn't really be able to bring much new to the table in terms of this style of play. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, this was really Resident Evil 0 came out after the remake, right? And that was basically the last time this old
Zero came out before.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah.
So this was really the last time Capcom even tried this style, really, for a Resident Evil game. They've not really gone back to tank controls overhead.
Yeah, and you know, it's easy to look at this game and think that Capcom was doing it because this was the style classic Resident Evil used, but no, at the time, this was modern Resident Evil. This was what modern Resident Evil was. The standard had been set by Zero, and well, they made the game up to that standard. Now they're kind of doing the same with Remake 2, where it's basically third-person Resi 7. So...
Oh, wait, Zero came out the same year as Remake 1.
Which makes sense. They both share an engine, so...
And actually, now that I think about it, Zero has somewhat higher res pre-rendered backgrounds.
So you're just going to stand there, Jill?
Well, she emptied out her clip.
Yeah, but she's
she's like having a hard time processing what she's witnessing.
Surprise!
It's hard to hear it because we're talking over it, but she was pulling the trigger past its empty point. It was going click, click, click. It's, you know, I think that's a logical reaction to this kind of situation.
Tom Cruise running.
It's certainly more effective than Joseph.
No, don't go.
Yeah, this opening, by the way, is very, very nice. The cutscenes in general in Remake are just better directed and less hokey than the ones in Zero, I should say. So, I mean, it goes without saying that they're better directed and less hokey than the ones in the original, but they're also better compared to the game that was released contemporary to this, so...
Yeah, right up there with... I mean, the Resident Evil games in general for the GameCube, I still think are some of the best-looking games of the system.
Yeah, they are. They really made use of the system's power. If anything, I'm glad that Resident Evil was on the GameCube before the PlayStation, if only because, well, that system had more power to it. If they were developing strictly for the PS2 first, I don't think Resident Evil 4 would have looked half as good. you know?
It's easier to scale down than to take what you have and remake it to look better, generally speaking.
The problem is that the Resident Evil on GameCube didn't sell very well.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's the old Nintendo branding problem.
Yeah, because that was like, I know that Nintendo has a, it's for kids kind of image now, but it was even more during the GameCube era.
I get it. The Chris Redfield Diesel outfit is his Claire Redfield reference because it's got the angel on the back.
It has the exact, I think, Made in Heaven.
Yeah, that's the one.
Which is what Claire's jacket said.
Chris, you look ridiculous. You're the guy wearing sunglasses at night, so are you.
Yeah. Her remake,
Damn it.
Her Remake 2 costume still has that logo on the back. It's just embossed into the leather instead of a full color thing. So.
Okay, this I have a bit of a history with this particular scene. So, our friend and I rented this from the game store. We were like 12 at the time when this came out. It was storming out, and of course, thunder claps, and the power goes out right when he's turning right here.
Oh. And I never played a Resident Evil game again.
Resident Evil confirmed, too scary.
Too scary, too spoopy for me.
That is some straight up poltergeist shit. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So in this scenario, Chris and Rebecca get separated from Barry and Jill, and you control them, right?
Well, we don't even know where Rebecca's at this point.
Rebecca was
yeah.
with Bravo team. In the original game scenario, she ran into the mansion, managed to get away. She was one of the several Bravo team members that made it into the mansion. The only one to survive, sadly. With Zero in the equation, she took a quick detour through Mansion 2.0, amassed an arsenal of weapons, killed Tyrant, killed a leech monster, and then somehow lost her weapons and her skills on the way to the mansion.
As soon as she ate them, because she's pretty... Like, if with Zero in mind, Rebecca has probably been up for like 2 consecutive days.
Yeah. I did say during the Resi Classic playthrough that the author of the novel really liked Rebecca. Honestly, her version in Zero and the remake is kinda lame compared to the book version.
So you explore Kenneth's body there, and you get a videotape, which, spoiler warning, we're not going to see what the contents are until Endgame. So at that point, you probably even forgot to pick the tape
You're
up.
doing the stair glitch.
Chris, what are you doing?
I'm sliding up the stairs.
It's faster.
Yeah, if you sort of fidget your way up the stairs, you kind of cancel out the slow down, walking up the steps effect of the animation.
Man, Chris knows so many HM moves. Strength to move boulders, rock climb to climb up stuff faster. Jeez, man. Chris OP, best HM slave in the game.
I'm not even a walking fridge yet.
That's his mega evolution.
Yeah, or just evolution in general.
Yeah, that got kind of ridiculous. They even sort of tried to tone down how beefy he looked in Resi 6 by giving him a bulkier outfit to cover.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was more by giving him a 4X shirt.
Yeah,
so.
they gave him more like vest pockets and stuff rather than having him be in a tight short sleeve shirt like in 5. But in 7, they just, I don't know, he was in a coma for 2 years and lost most of his muscle mass.
And, it's sad when Chris, after coming out of a coma, is still more physically fit than most of the people playing his game.
That's just how big he was.
You ate my only food.
Anyway,
now I'm gonna starve.
We are, of course, playing the HD remaster, which is a good remaster, I'll say. The only real graphical shortcoming, and this is more true of a remake than Zero, is that the pre-rendered backgrounds don't mesh quite as well with the 3D objects as they used to, at least not at 1080.
And the models were touched up for the remaster as well. They're more high definition and more. They have more polygons than the initial GameCube release.
And Jill now has jiggle physics, so
she had that
yeah.
she had that in the original remake actually.
It's just more pronounced here.
Well, it only looks more pronounced because of the thing that I was about to say, which is that the lighting engine has also been revamped. There's a lot more shadow work going on with the character models.
Oh, okay. So I was going to ask whether or not that was touched up or not, because I remember I remember the graveyard in the GameCube version having more of a bluish tint.
Sorry, it looks like Chris has wheelies when he's going down the stairs.
Hey, Rebecca, check this out. Whee!
I don't necessarily know about the lighting in the pre-rendered backgrounds, but the lighting on the character models in particular has more shadows going on, which I think is an improvement. Myself, personally. Some others would swear by the GameCube version of things, and, I respectfully disagree, and, well, you've got the right to be wrong, and all of that, but...
The remaster also gives us a totally different control scheme, which I hate. I can't do it personally.
Yeah,
you can replace the tank controls with more proper analog controls, but given how often the camera angles change the pre-rendered environments, you're walking in circles for half of
the thing is, unlike say Silent Hill or Fatal Frame, which give your character a sense of weight and force them to sort of do a U-turn when they want to turn around, or at least stop and turn around, the analog control in this works, I guess, somewhat akin to, which version was it? The N64 version of 2, which had an option to turn off tank controls? Basically, you just snap to whatever direction you're pushing the analog stick with no transition whatsoever. So your character feels weightless and really, really uber maneuverable, which makes the game a complete joke because the enemies weren't designed for that kind of maneuverability.
Yeah, it's easier to avoid zombies with analog.
You can zip around the zombies like a hamster on caffeine and knife their ankles until they just give up.
Resident Evil, in its relationship with the tank controls, is such a bizarre one because it's so iconic to the series that they keep it around, even though like half the fan base loves them and half of them hate them. It's so bizarre. I appreciate
they're so ingrained with me for classic that I cannot play it anywhere else. Because originally I was going to play with analog just so I have an easier time avoiding zombies, but then I played about 2 minutes.
It didn't
work.
Reset the game.
Well, it's one thing to play a Devil May Cry game with a pulled back camera and analog control, but this is, look at this, the camera's switching like every 2 seconds. Well, it wasn't here, but that's because there's a cutscene that triggers here. The camera pulled in this close leads to very, very, very frequent camera switching, and that means the tank control is actually ideal for not losing your bearings.
It's also, Devil May Cry is also a kind of game where combat is more of a focus, and so you kind of want that greater sense of control in a game like that, whereas...
Aha, you can't get out now.
Anyway, the game just introduced a mechanic that was unique to the remake, and they're sort of bringing it back in Remake 2, although they're doing it a bit differently. Defensive items, which are expendable extra items that don't take up inventory space. And basically, if you get grabbed by a zombie, you can set it to happen automatically, but you can also put it on a button press if you want to have more control over it.
Or if you don't want to prematurely use it, because you automatically defend yourself if you set it to auto.
Yeah, you'll use your defensive item to like get dogs and zombies and other enemies off you if they happen to grab you or pin you down. There are daggers, which both characters have, although why you can only use your fancy little ornate daggers for this, I'm not really sure. And both characters have their own unique defensive item as a second option. Chris has grenades, which is by far the better one.
Yes, it is.
he sticks a grenade in the enemy's mouth and it blows their head off, so it actually destroys their head. So it functions as an additional means of destroying corpses so that they don't come back as Crimson Heads.
Gotta make Chris useful somehow, because Jill is just too good otherwise.
Yeah, Jill has the grenade launcher, which has flame rounds, which is another extra way to burn corpses. But she has the taser as her second one, so she jabs the enemy with an electrified stun gun, and they go pop, 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 and it does a lot of damage, but doesn't necessarily kill them.
Yeah.
Is it possible to kill all the zombies so they don't become Crimson Heads, or no?
You would have to either decapitate them, blow their knees out, or burn them.
And
I don't think there's enough kerosene in the game to deal with every zombie.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not going to stop people from trying, I'm sure.
There are different difficulties of the game. To cover that real quick, I am playing on what is basically the easy mode of this game. There's 3 difficulties. There's normal, easy, and very easy. The game masks them as like how do you like your adventures, mountain climbing, hiking, or just leisurely walking. I chose hiking, and the major difference is I think zombies take less. There's less zombies to deal with, and there's more like ammo to pick up. I did that just strictly for the commentary reasons, because by the end of this game, I have a surplus of first aid sprays and herb mixtures that I was like, probably should have played this in normal. Now that I think about it.
Do you unlock like a super hard mode after you've beaten the game or anything like that?
If normal, if you beat the game on normal, you unlock True Survivor, I believe it's called, and One Dangerous Zombie,
Real
which we can
Survivor.
cover later. Yeah, Real Survivor. Okay, which doesn't link the item boxes, meaning you have to carefully strategically place items in what boxes for the adventure. You also get One Dangerous Zombie, which we'll run into him later. But one of the zombies here, I think it's Forrest, will randomly wander around the mansion with a shitload of grenades strapped to his chest. And basically, if you shoot him in any capacity or damage him in any capacity, that's game over because he blows up.
Yep.
So it's okay to be shooting a grenade launcher in the mansion, but this guy with a couple grenades strapped on him blows up the whole.
It blows the entire mansion.
Okay, that makes the most sense. All right.
Yeah.
It's an extra mode. Don't think too much about it.
I know it's an interesting idea because that became a normal. Well, I mean that's probably based off of like the who's its face from Resident Evil 3, the Nemesis is his name, I think. Yeah. Like it's probably based off of that guy, or a twist on that guy, like a Nemesis you actually cannot fight, which is an interesting idea.
Well, an interesting idea that a lot of games have actually done. The cool thing about Nemesis was that you could fight him. It was a bad idea, but if you succeeded, you got some cool items out of it. So it was a nice little risk-reward thing.
It was pretty much an extension of the Mr. X gimmick of RE2.
Yeah, you could take him down and get some ammo from him, although you probably used up more ammo than you got.
Does Nemesis come back if you kill him in RE3?
Huh?
What was that?
Does Nemesis come back if you kill him in RE3?
Oh yeah, he always gets back up when you leave the room.
Yeah, until plot kills.
But if you want like all the weapons, you have to take him down in certain locations because he has like customization parts for your guns.
Oh, okay.
So that's what happens when I hit the X button. When I thought I was looking at the kerosene, I actually hit the door. So yeah, I'm going to be demonstrating what you really should be doing if you're going to go ahead and be all willy-nilly with zombie kills. So you get the fuel canteen in this save room here, and you get a canister of kerosene. Your fuel canteen can take up to 2 portions, I guess, of kerosene, and what you do is that you go near the zombie corpse, choose the fuel canteen, and you burn the body up. The good thing about Chris is that Chris inherently has the lighter. So you can start doing this immediately. With Jill, you have to wait until you get the lighter if you're going to do it that way, or you can use flame rounds, which, has multi-purpose, burns the body up nice and bright for you.
And Chris's lighter doesn't take up an inventory spot, you said.
No.
Yeah.
It's his lockpick.
So in Remake, Chris is actually quite a bit more useful than he was in the original game.
Yes, but his limited inventory still blows. More on that later.
Yeah, it does. But at least it's not 0.